we go. While we're waiting. Let's see if I can't turn this. Oh, yeah, I like it there. All right. Good afternoon. How are you? Good evening for some of you. Welcome to Paranormal Witchcraft LLC. I am Tobias Josephson. Welcome back. Today, what we do on the weekends lately until we are over 100 subscribers is we're going to do some witchcraft together on the weekends. So that way we can utilize the name, all right, get into some trouble together. All right, this isn't like, necromancy and all that stuff. It's just pretty much going to be some tarot, some ruins, etc. Talking about Litha coming up and how we're all feeling, all right, in the past couple of weeks. It's been quite a whirlwind of energies, we'll say that. In fact, tonight is not really scripted because it's been quite a weekend. I was up like 28 hours yesterday doing some service work for a friend. So weekends are for relaxing, and so I thought we would chill, relax a little bit, etc. Hold on a minute. How is everybody? Without blinding you guys. There we go. And me. Much better because I'm having eye pain today. Oops. So there, I can deal with that. I'm having eye pain today, and so I get a little bit of nausea, a little bit of dizziness, and so it's really unfortunate, but it happens. So it'll probably be an early night for me, which is like midnight. So how is everybody, my friends? Is everybody watching the world closely? Good afternoon, Truth Tarot Readings, Mr. Christopher Stant. Oh my God, I see stars still. So for those just tuning in and don't know, all right, I am Tobias Josephson. This is the channel where we approach the paranormal differently. And then obviously, I am a solitary eclectic chaos witch. I'm a sorcerer. All right, if you saw my poem, I'm a published author, if you look at it that way, and a poet. So I am many, many, many things. I'm kind of like an enigma, or a maniac, if you will, or a free spirit. I don't know what you would call me. I really don't. So call me whatever you want. Welcome. All right. It is a nice sunny weekend here in the Chicagoland area. Beautiful. And yesterday was a good visit, so thank you to everybody who understood. Sorry for the late cancel. I think what I should probably adopt, since I'm a business owner, instead of trying to attempt it, all right, even when my subconscious knows it's going to be hard to pull off, I should just probably say I'll be traveling, etc., etc. And I think I keep trying because when I ask other content creators for help, they just say consistency grows, and so I don't like missing a day. But life does happen, and I haven't seen my friend in 7 months, probably 7.5 if we're being honest. So thank you so much for allowing me to relax and catch up, enjoy, and spread some love out there. So hopefully everybody's holding on tight. We have a new moon approaching very rapidly on the 16th. So if you're not already buckled up or strapped in, think of the world as, think of us individuals on this planet as we are all in that boat in the movie Jaws, right? And the energy around us is the shark, all right? We're going to need a bigger boat, okay? That's what we're saying. These energy shifts are I've never seen anything like it. I can't tell you how many people I know that are affected by it. So buckle up. If you haven't buckled up, strap in, anchor yourself to something. Welcome back to the channel. But we wanted to touch on that again. If you look in the background and I get my little fat ass out of the way, you'll see a candle. So it's doing some rearranging because what you guys don't know is I'm doing actual service work, and so I had to make room in the office. And so I'm kind of frazzled still. Awesome. So thank you for that. I'm gonna move that. I'm probably more feral than human today, but nonetheless, we're gonna make it happen. So let me see if I can turn a little bit. So this way, when I'm looking, I can facilitate. What we have in front of us is a tarot cloth. All right, and I'll show you, and then we'll go back. All right, and so we're going to be casting ruins just like a tarot spread, and then we're going to read it together, and then we're going to take the tarot deck, and then number one together here as we engage. That's the whole point of this channel, is we want to get people engaged, which means we want to encourage them to view, come in here and engage, ask questions, etc. And so we try to make it fun, especially on the weekends. We're just everyday people out there trying to share our passion and our knowledge of who we are, what we do, where we come from. And myself, as the owner, comes from a very hardcore traumatic background with more recently recovery, etc., etc. So I'm what you would call a warrior. Right? I came out premature and breech and a cord around my neck, and I was also alcohol addicted. And so before I knew love, I knew survival. And so there's something to be said for that right now on this planet. And that's why I keep touching back to the current events, is I'm trying to give people hope by sharing true stories. I'm trying to give people hope and strength and experience, right? And so they start swimming instead of freaking out, right? Because what happened in that movie with Jaws, they freaked out, right? It wasn't until they realized they had to take control, they overcame the giant shark, right? That movie plays a lot into the psychology of fear. And right now, the whole world runs on the psychology of fear. Sometimes I even amaze myself because I wasn't even planning on being so poetic today, but it seems to be one of those days that I am warm, if that makes any sense. If you've ever gone through awakenings, especially in portals like this, I am warm. That's all I can tell people. My body is responding metaphysically, etc. And so let's get right into this. But before we do, how's everybody's weekend? How are you, Truth Tarot Readings? And Christopher Stant, how are things going? Because I want to start getting a more deeper engagement on the weekends with you guys. And everybody loves tarot. It doesn't matter if they go to church every Sunday or if they're a practicer. Everybody's okay with tarot. Everybody seems to be okay with ruins, right? Because they view them as like safe. Right? That's cool, right? And so these are the opportunities where I need to let my personality shine with you guys, all right, and highlight some fun skills together. Witches ruins are something that you don't see talked about a lot on the social media platforms, or it's hard to find even on YouTube here. So YouTube, once again, us at Paranormal Witchcraft are very grateful for you allowing us to be here as beginning content creators, and we look forward to continuing to forge positive relationships with this platform and many, many other content creators. So now that we have our energies in here, there is a mad genius to my mad behaviors. All right. How is Chris feeling? How is Truth Tarot feeling? We all know how very apparently Tobias is different today. They're gonna find out. All right, we're gonna share some things today, and some personal things. Now again, I use recovery in my everyday life. And so I'm going to say things, but I'm not going to say things. All right. It's very important that my followers, my friends, family, colleagues, partners at Witchfinder Dating, uh, our newest best friends, Matt and Monica and the gang over there at Blue Mountain. All right. All these beautiful new relationships, evidently paranormal. Wizard Rock Radio, Dogman TP Hunting, Flying Chariots The Rise. All right. Go check these people out. There's content creators on here I like. Mr. Vetted. All right. Go check out Mr. Vetted. Great guy. Another great guy on here, Jeremy Carvel. Another other great guy on here, the great and infallible Ross Coulthart. So that man right there, him and Megan, are doing things. They're creating change. They're creating buzz. And doesn't matter to me if they ever watch this channel. They deserve the accolades for being so brave. Like we are kind of at Paranormal Witchcraft, where we are trying to create change in our paradigm in the paranormal and witchcraft community. And it is almost like we are being viewed at in social media public eye as wackos and oh, there's nothing to see there. And so growing a channel that has a name of Paranormal Witchcraft carries a stigma in that way, much like the disclosure issue that everyone's clamoring about, right? And so I just want to let Ross and everybody that I just mentioned know, all right, I'm watching all my friends and all these incredible human beings out there doing their thing. Right on. So let's see what we got going on this weekend on planet Earth. Some of us are watching the disclosure thing. I will join all my friends, all right, and the most awesome journalist out there that we just mentioned for doing all that hard work. We all did kind of despise that it was going to amount to kind of a nothing burger, the shit we've always seen, the stuff that any one of us could have found, and a lot of us are outraged like Ross, Jeremy, and many others, go Mr. T for what he's doing. All right. I will give the respect for that, but trying to shake the real truth loose is going to be a battle. I want to let the planet know that. Okay. All right. So that being said, let's get into this wild freaking weekend. All right. I'm Tobias Josephson. We are Paranormal Witchcraft LLC. But before we cast these stones, the reason why we use witchcraft in this business is because we do believe it has positive benefits to certain situations when it comes to paranormal investigation, if done with structure, responsibility, and ethics for everybody and everything involved, including the spirits and the locations. So that being said, let's rock. Now, let's see what we get. All right, we'll take some comments because I saw some buzz. Awesome. Standing your grounds. What are you standing your grounds from, my friend? Remember, only you can make the choice. Are you going to absorb the bull crap or just ignore it like it's flies? Look at the fear mongering and the doom scrolling and the doom debating and infighting that's going on all over the place. It is very much generated by everything they see and hear around them or feeling or dealing with. They don't know how to deal with their emotions, so they take it out on other people, right? And then they hide behind profiles or businesses or whatever it is they do. It's no different. What we're doing on social media settings is no different than the people we're talking about on the news. Right. We're emulating that, and then we have the gall as publics to say we're reacting in better ways. And in many ways, there's a bunch of people out there who just are geared towards violence right now. All right. It's a culture. It's as somebody who's a parent and as a father, it's highly concerning. All right. So just word of warning out there, buckle up, put a helmet on. All right. It may get worse before it gets better, but it'll always get better. We have Litha coming up on June 21st. First. Now, this tooth is very close to coming out. All right. I have a dentist appointment in a couple days. So hopefully it's nothing dramatic and I don't have to cancel a live stream, but it will very much undoubtedly affect the way I speak because I'm not about to pay $14,000 for something this big that's going to fill that gap. So that being said, I'm embracing, all right, the effects of what life has done to my body, all right, and instead of letting people make fun of me, all right, you notice how I embrace and I say, yes, I am a freak, because 9 inches of my intestines probably before I got fed, all right, so that's dramatic. So a lot of people just don't take the time to know people anymore, and we just seem to be in an age where people don't want to stop and think. They just want to react. Okay. So be wiser than they are is my best advice for my friends and family. Now, we do have days where it even gets the best of me. Okay. Days are hard to survive right now. All right. No matter where you go, no matter what you do, we are all kind of in a survival, slightly feral place in our personalities. All right. We're not sure if we should be afraid or paranoid or untrusting. All right. We all feel this. We might as well start talking about it. Okay. Because I think we're all going to find we have more in common instead of sitting there hating each other back and forth or playing superiority or know-it-allism or, just trash talking in general, which seems to be the rule of thumb, right, on social media platforms, right? That's why you don't see me there anymore. I apologize to everybody, but this is what we're talking about here at Paranormal Witchcraft LLC. These mental health breaks. Why would you allow yourself to absorb that garbage? All right. On a daily basis, think about it. If you're debating or arguing with somebody because you just must be right. Now, this isn't for the situations where we know we're right, like if it's morally wrong. That's different. We're talking about the everyday bullshit that happens on platforms. The squawking, the parroting, right? And then you have the silly ones that put up their middle finger and make memes, and you have worse people than that. They have their friends hack you, and they have other people report you, and then they silently shit talk, and then they'll get back up on camera and do lives, and everything's just fine, right? Now, that being said, that's nothing different. People talk about Hollywood in the same way, like, oh my God, did you hear why? Why are we all so surprised on this planet? In an age where there is no privacy, none. All right. I'm surprised I can still go to the bathroom and somewhere, somehow, someone doesn't know. All right. I accepted this years ago that there was enough people on this planet who are going to push for AI when it came, no matter what those worst consequences are. And look at what those worst consequences are right now. Look around us. Look at what we're reading. Look at what we're watching. Look at what we're talking about on our accounts. All right. The red flags are everywhere. In fact, they're blaring strobe lights to people like me. Why? Why would I want to absorb all that? Why would I want to absorb other people's problems? Why would I want to absorb other people's mentalities? Why? Why? All right. Especially in that time right now. I can tell you why the world wants it that way, because it keeps people under control, because people become desperate and their behaviors become desperate. Look around us. Okay. Let's see what the witches' ruins say, my friends. And if you're new here, merry meet and blessed be. Let's have some fun. Yes, sir. Sometimes it's hard. Ah, gotcha. Well, my friend, you just lay there on your side and you don't fucking worry about anything else. See, that's what I love about Chris. He is one of those, what I call the 1%ers. He shows up for me even when he's in paralyzing pain. Where? Oh, where? Jesus, universe, angels are the millions of other Christopher Stantz out there. Paranormal witchcraft is looking for these beautiful souls. Blue Mountain Paranormal is looking for these beautiful souls. People like us are looking for these souls all the time. And look at what we get. We get treated like people are talking about on the news. It is a cycle. It's a washing machine. Okay. And people are stuck in it or they're purposely in it because they're gaining something out of it. Don't be one of those unauthentic people. All right. Don't. You will regret it. Hang in there, man. Hang in there. Let's get to it. So we have a man showing up with the witches' ruins here. Sorry, I'm in a passionate mood. All right. So I can tell you that my friend is doing better. Okay. My friend is doing better. And that's promising to me. Okay. But that doesn't mean my friend doesn't have a lot of things ahead of him. Okay. Y'all have to understand. Right? I keep saying recovery all the time, right? Because I use its principles to be a human being before I'm a solitary eclectic chaos witch, or if I have to use sorcery, whatever, right? Because as a human being, I owe it to myself to use responsibility, morality, and ethics in everything I do instead of doing what everyone else is doing. All right. Like we have sarcasm in the brotherhood too. I ignore that shit. All right. It's hard some days. All right. But that feeds the kind of shit that shouldn't be ever present in any metaphysical groups. And yet it's glaring. All right. And so, as one of the leaders of that group, I just kindly say things. All right. And I leave it at that. Okay. Because those people are looking, they're almost looking for a challenge all the time, no matter where you go in those groups. That's why I try to tell people that are new hats or new brooms, please be careful. Okay. Because once ego gets away from some of these folks, it's over, man. Their personalities come out, and then you have these cat fights all over the social media program platforms, right? This group's better than that group, better than that group, and this group did that to that group. And it gets ridiculous, right? It's like watching Jerry Springer, but on social platforms for free, right? And I just sit back and scratch my head. I don't understand what it is about that. Us, myself, and the admins there, Brotherhood, have talked about it. I can't tell you how many times, thousands of hours. And it's just like the eighth wonder of the world, people being people. The enigma of ego gets people every time. It's just what it is. So we have romance popping up here. That's a good sign. I like that. That's a good choice. We have death approaching. Kidding, guys. I'm kidding. Come on, have a little fun. Have a little fun. Nobody wants to have a little fun. I understand some people's skies are falling, or it appears to be that way, but we are all very resilient human beings on this planet, especially some of my friends in the Brotherhood. I know we will be okay, but we really got to start leaning on each other's practices, please. Right? If we're friends, reach out if you need some help, man. All right? I'm in it with you. All right, but we can rise above this. I believe we're some of the most knowledgeable and intelligent people on the planet when it comes to the human race. I really do when it comes to practicers, right? And I really don't have respect for all the ambiguity around us. That's why I'm quieter, okay? Because I'm trying to just let it fade and eventually change back into positivity. All right. So people stop bird shitting on each other over there. It's silly, it's petty, it's immature, and the world's on fire. Let's lean in on each other and let's be the coven we're all trying to create on social media apps. It's just that easy right now. Before, all right, we curse, hex, and cast each other into oblivion. All right. We're all good people. It's just some of our egos are way out of whack. I get it. All right. I've been there. I'm still trying to learn from some of my pains too. Let's see what we got going on here. If you can't hear it outside my window, our neighbors are going to start a war here, and they don't know it yet. And they know I don't like them, but they're those people that have fallen through the cracks somehow. And we're talking even their parents. And so it's kind of a pain in my little ass right now because you can hear that. Anyways, so and the deal with that is he came over and shook my hand and said he was trying to be cool. I said, great, I have a live to do. I appreciate that. And then while I was gone yesterday, tried to start some bullshit. And I don't appreciate that. We moved here to be private. We moved here to try to be friendly. But if people don't want to do that, then they are not going to like us. And it's not our problem that they don't understand privacy and peace and quiet. They just have more learning to do. And you have to learn how to understand that bullshit. Because they don't know how to ask for help. They get desperate. They get toxic. You just got to feel bad for them and look the other way and hope they don't cross your fence. So it is said, so it is done, right? I use what Jesus said, turn the other cheek until I can't help it anymore. All right. And that's where we're getting at with the planet. It's kind of ridiculous, isn't it? From driving to trying to cash out at the store to being the new person on the block. Now, I get that being a witch and a sorcerer and a paranormal investigator creeps people out, but that's hiding behind fear and stigmatism and closed mind behavior. And I don't deal with that bullshit. So, and neither should any of you. Let's get into this reading. Right? If you're feeling this energy, this shift around you in your daily life, you are not insane. Okay? You don't even have to be a practicer to feel that. All right? It's everywhere. This energy is like cockroaches. Would somebody come up with a spiritual raid already? Please, from this witch to all my other friends, let's get together, man. This is getting ridiculous to me. I feel like this is a trip to Chuck E. Cheese. All right? And we're getting really crappy prizes. I told you all to buckle up. I'm trying to be a good boy today. All right. But we're going to have a little fun with the world. That's what makes this shit fun. All right. If I can center myself in a time like this, God damn it, other people can. All right. That's just my view. That's just my view. You can talk hard all you want until you're right in front of me, and then it always changes and it gets annoying, and then it's cop calling and harassment. Just shut the fuck up, man. That's all we want. People can't do that. So there's a man in the scene. On one of these, there's a crossroads in the scene. On one of these, we have death in the picture. But before you guys get all nervous and start crapping your pants and your panties get twined up, all right, and you lose track of yourself and you start wrecking yourself, the good news is the outcome is the star. Outcome is the star. Everybody likes looking at the stars, especially right now, right? Did you guys see the 8-sided video that the government shared, the Department of War? That's pretty cool. Now, I like what that theorist, I believe that's what he was. He is one of the intelligence agency's agents that looks into that real radical effect shit. And what that is that object was so hot that it was disturbing the environment around it. Now, remember, that thing was taken on a military platform. All right. And now we're all yawning at what was given. All right. And we've all given poor Luna and Burchett, and I'm sure Burleson, our mind, those people that can, poor guys. But I look at those people and go, they don't understand what kind of pressure those Congress women and men are under. All right. It is red tape. It is a ball of yarn. You guys got to give them a little bit of credit here. Okay. Again, the world is literally in a state of conflict. Right? And there doesn't seem to be much peace being offered. Buckle up. So the star. Let's talk about it, man. So we start with a man. What's that Johnny Cash song? When the man comes around. Somebody remind me what that song is. I know you guys are about my age group. What is that song by Johnny Cash? That is one of my old nicknames, Chris. If I don't think I've told you that yet, but one of my nicknames for 30 years in supermarket retail was the Man in Black, because that's all I wore as a grocery manager was black on black. And so one of my nicknames was the Man in Black. Yes, the ring of fire. Burn, 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 burning ring of fire. Yeah, thank you. All right, so we have a man showing up right off the bat. The man. Got to pay more for your gas. You got to pay more for your food. You got to pay more for your YouTube. Meta wants more money, right? It's the way of life right now, all right? I think what we're seeing, friends, is the world is in a state of shock, literally, all right? And we're not reacting very well to it. That's why I keep talking about we're all reacting, because when you react, right, you're allowing them to throw all that on you, all right? And we're all being crushed by the weight of all that, all right, on top of our internal problems, all right? We're allowing everything around the planet to put more and more and more pressure on her. And for some of us, it's unavoidable with job and careers, etc. That's not what I'm talking about. All right. So for people that want to come in here and try to be kickstanders with the debates, no, we're not going to petty these podcasts. We don't do that here. Remember, we have our little pit bull there. All right. Chris Stant, for anyone who thinks they're going to throw rocks, right? Respect is law. Remember, we have religious friends. I like these guys, all right? These religious people I talk to on social platforms, they're great people. There's nothing wrong with that, all right? And so the stigma that witches and religious folk can't get along is wrong. I am proving people right in real time, but I think there's not enough people in those communities paying attention. Remember, I started Paranormal Witchcraft LLC because I truly believe we do it together, regardless of our magical or other differences. I'm talking about the entire world. I'm trying to get people to think on a level that they're not used to thinking on right now because nobody's there mentally. Very few, I shouldn't say nobody, very few are there, all right? And not like very few, like a sliver of us. All right. It's like 50-50. Few sounds bad. So let's edit that out of here. All right. So there's about half of us, right? They're aware, etc. So we have the man. Everything's being taken. I get it, man. This blows. I understand, man. It is. It's unfortunate. But right now we do have to survive and we don't need to resort to violence to do it. That's just my belief. I don't see how it helps anyone. I don't understand that mentality. I really don't. When the frustration becomes desperation and that becomes violence, we're in trouble. All right. And we're there. So what do we do about it? We talk about it. Papa Roach has been trying to get people to understand that. Jelly Roll, others, right? People haven't been listening. You've just been listening to the beats, to the riffs, right? To the pain in their voice. Listen to their words. It's their story. Like I keep telling people here on camera, giving people my story for free. I don't have the luxury of becoming a rock star. There was a day when I wanted that, right? But, I'm getting kind of old. So that being said, I don't have any other way of imparting my experience, strength, and hope. And so this is the perfect outlet for it, especially in this world dynamic. All the world, after all, is a stage, correct? Nah, it's all about money and greed right now. Human life doesn't matter, and that's the problem. This traditional male characteristics is showing up, trying to invoke action. This person could be a father protecting loved ones around them. This could be a social media setting. This could be a family structure setting. Whatever it is, let it resonate with you. You can tell me briefly in the comments if you choose to. I would love that. Now, why I was a minute late is because I'm really exhausted and I couldn't remember if I'm supposed to do these on Facebook on the weekends or here. And people will figure it out. So I'm really tired. So thank you for allowing me to just kind of make these a relaxing podcast with no script. I really need this little reset there. So that being said, my friends, I appreciate those lighting candles in the background for me, etc. Michael Shropshire, I've not forgotten you. I don't know where you went, my friend, but I'm here to be of service if you will tap me in social media tonight. So this is somebody who's protecting loved ones, a provider, somebody who's being empowered, but that's not the truth. The truth is I'm trying to see people that they can empower themselves. You just got to rise through everything. All right. Every time you get hit, every time that failure runs through your veins, it's meant to make you stronger with more knowledge, with more skills. Stop doing the same behaviors, thinking you're going to get a different outcome. What the world is doing is called insanity. That's what it is. Stop. We got to stop that, guys. And that's all I can do is say the message. All right. And most people just flick me off, tell me to F off. And, they do that and the likes. All right. It's not easy to try to be an authentic person who comes from a hard life trying to show people you can change. Most times you'll catch more shit than honey, but somebody has to try to invoke change, right? And so it's one of my passions as an investigator and as somebody who's working on leadership in this community of witchcraft. So that's awesome. The present is as clear as we can make it, guys. Now, if you love this ruin, let me know. I want you to say absolutely in the comments. This is where we are all at. We're all in a crossroads. We all feel like we're at a crossroads, don't we? Our survival skills have us almost feral. Some of us are damn near rabid. I'm being completely frank, right? Concerning. But it's never the end of the world, and it's always darkest before you start seeing signs of hope and change and positivity, right? Litha is coming. Let's focus on that together. The longest day of the year, the day that's going to expose things we may have avoided. Let's hope it lights up more blessings for us this year than what we've been facing. That's the idea. It's hard to stand. I'm getting punched right now. All right. I have a rubber band around my nutsack. I just don't talk about it. I don't know where that came from, but I think you guys understand what I mean. Okay. I've got shit in the background of my life that would make people go, how are you even a positive person any day? All right. But it's not the point of trying to use egotism or narcissism on stage here and try to be the know-it-all, best, biggest, baddest, alpha type individual. That's not what it's about for me. Again, it is not about popularity. A lot of people take how I am completely the wrong way, and then they don't have the guts to speak to me frankly. So, there's a lot of people who get resentful. Right? I can't figure out why. All right, to me, it's simple. All right? I don't have time for passive aggressiveness. All right? We're not there. We're working on it. We're all work in progress. This is a major life decision for a lot of people. I have personal friends who that's why I'm constantly lighting candles for. I can't do much else. All right? My brothers at the Brotherhood of Male Witches. Right? I love each and every one of you, wherever you are. A couple of them are healing. A couple of them are working on some things. All right. Brother Paul's getting some more knowledge. Right. Johnny's doing some stretching, some networking, etc. and the likes. And we have Brother Steve supporting everybody everywhere. Thank you so much, Steve. This is a major life decision, though, so we're not taking it lightly. I get it. We're all looking at the unknown. All right. So am I. Right? I don't know where I'm going to be in a year. All right. But I can't let that run my life. I can't let that overshadow my day. I can't let that blot out my light because I don't know where I'm going to be in a year. All right. I'm trying to figure out if this species is going to make the right choice or not right now as a father. Right. That's how I'm looking at the chaos from a slightly different advantage. So I get it though, right? It's almost like we're fucked, and then we're fucked even harder. We don't know which choice we have to take. We feel like we're once again stuck in that Two of Swords energy, don't we? We're damned if we do, and we're damned if we don't. I know it, all right? Because I know what it feels like, because I'm having to make some of those damn choices myself, all right? But advertising that all over the planet every day, like people do on social media outlets, what does that do for me? What does that do? Right? I don't know. I find that as, people getting stuck in poor me syndrome for a day or so. And it happens. I understand. Being afraid of moving forward. Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe we're seeing a lot of anxiety on the planet because of what's being forced upon them. Right? Again, you're not alone there with Brother Tobias and your friends at Paranormal Witchcraft and the brothers at Brotherhood. The 12,500 plus from all over the world. So I keep saying all over the world. That's why we keep talking about current events. We're trying to get people to understand that we're your friends, not your enemies. All right. We don't understand why there's ambiguity between teams or in the Brotherhood group. Right. And so that's why we're working on the positivity there and the engagement very soon. But that's okay, right? Because the world's pretty harsh right now. It's almost like a meat grinder, right? Only the strong will survive. And we're trying to help people grow stronger, right? It's kind of like Operation Mindcrime to me. Is there any Queensryche fans in the crowd? Is there anyone in here who knows Queensryche? Operation Mindcrime, phenomenal. It's a phenomenal album. It's one of my first loves too. I like all that stuff, man. Right now is the time for living, man. And I see a lot of people saying, it's well, not my friends that are really struggling, but there's many other people that are just going with it, all right, but they're not really in a serious state of crisis, right? But nonetheless, we give support out there, and that's why I say welcome to the jungle. That little pun has turned out to be real. It's weird. It's really weird, all right, but it fits right now, doesn't it? Do you know where you are? You're in the jungle, baby. You're gonna, I'm not gonna say that on camera, right? That's lit. The world is a concrete jungle right now. Concrete, steel, all right? Ego, built and driven, and most likely fueled. So, what can we do about that, Tobias? Well, we have some flight, some movement ahead. That's promising. That's good for us, right? That means we're going to stick around for the fight. We're going to be the warrior witches we are, my friend. See, the warrior part of that little fun nickname for the fan club that choose to use it, one, creates engagement. The warrior part is, it touches to the book. And the reason I'm throwing parts of my life story in there is because the dual diagnosis isn't given a public light anywhere in a capacity that somebody who's gone through the darkest parts of society for most of his life and has had to go through the institutions and the hospitals and the other corporations and the other things you do for all that stuff when it came to the parental issues and the addictions and the abuse and all that, right? And so that's where the warrior comes from, and people really try to make fun of that. All right. But on the flip side, I'm starting to see more moths to the flame with this message because they understand, I think, what I am trying to say on the undertones is the world is living most of their lives around us right now on an autopilot, right? But that autopilot is fueled by paranoia. And that paranoia is fueled by fear. And that fear is turning into desperation. That desperation is turning into very unsafe, toxic human behaviors. I notice it. That's why I don't engage with social media very much. It's out of my control. It is now objective, right? And a lot of people over there don't understand that. They get a little upset. And, all right, I don't know what to tell them, all right? Acceptance is the key. We have movement. We do have communication. We do have information coming. Right? We do have travel of all kinds. That's good. Maybe we're getting those jobs. Maybe we're getting those bids. Maybe getting disability, right? Maybe relationships are going to be mended. Maybe working relationships are coming forward. Maybe you're getting a promotion, right? Maybe someone else is retiring. Whatever it is. Me and Fonda are talking about eventually after this place, where the hell would we like to be? This place don't work out since the whole world seems to want to light everyone on fire. Where do we really want to go where we could be happy? Right? Travel of all kinds. That's how I resonate. What do you resonate with? Let's move into this romance part of it. A lot of people are in love with the idea of themselves. A lot of people out there are in love with the ideas they created, and their narcissism comes out in every post they make. We really can't do anything about that here at Paranormal Witchcraft LLC, but tell people to exercise your healthy boundaries. Stop making it your problem that they can't understand, right? Again, I don't try to schedule people to be rude or arrogant. I do it because I mean it. I'm doing so much service work behind the scenes, plus a business, plus two groups here. People are forgetting right now because they're too busy reacting to slow down and think that maybe Tobias will eventually, in a couple hours, maybe in a day, depending on what he's personally going through, or Fonda, or anyone on the team of Paranormal Witchcraft, all right? And they're viewing it as being rude, arrogant, uppity, all right? But they don't say it, all right? It's that silent energy that I'm going to keep reminding them I'm picking up on, right? Either talk plainly or, you know, we can move on. It is what it is. Don't feel bad about it. Do what you must do, right? But stop harming one another. We're seeing that pattern starting to increase over on our side of the field. We got to stop that, guys. Stop it. Don't be in love with the idea of witchcraft. Please don't. Okay. Yes, I think this spirituality is people are trying to look for answers. All right. And so they're becoming witches. All right. All right. I understand the logic in desperate times. I understand it. I used to be young like them, all right? But I've never seen anything like the ignorance or arrogance that's coming out of that generation, all right? And the utmost arrogance when it comes to respecting anyone, right? They live like they're in a video game, right? And then when they get sat down, they don't understand. Well, because that's not reality, right? And the problem is most people don't want to face their reality. And that's all our message is here at Paranormal Witchcraft LLC and the undertone at Brotherhood of Male Witches. If you talk about it, you've labeled it. If you've labeled it or figured out what that is, you can do something about it. You can't just keep talking and then not do action in your life, right? That's called daydreaming, right? And you'll never get anywhere, right? You'll just stuck being wherever most of you are right now, right? I can only kind of try to give people advice on what has worked for me as a practicer. The discipline's got to be there. The respect has to be there. Or you might as well sit down and hush, all right, and go back to whatever it was doing before you came to witchcraft, okay? Because the arrogance will get you nowhere. It'll get you thrown out of every group, okay? You can't do that, beginners. And it's not happening right now in any of the groups, I'm just saying, right? I see it happening a lot on other platforms, and I feel bad for those group owners because that sucks. Got some friends to plug tonight, all right? Go check out our podcast friends here in the Cauldron. I believe I will be chatting with them June 8th, all right? And they are friends of the Wizard Rock radio podcast team that was on last week, and we had so much fun together, guys. They were talking about affecting change in our personal lives. Sid, Jen, Beth, Medium Red. Let me see if I can remember all their names. Chrissy and her husband, and I think I'm missing somebody, unfortunately, but it was a great podcast. I really loved each one of their energies. So please go check their podcast out. Show them some love. They talk about some pretty interesting stuff. So if they're out there, thank you so much. We're honored. We're excited. This is what really gets us excited at Paranormal Witchcraft is what people on social media don't understand is that is all me and Fonda and the team have been looking for in our area. All right. And what we got stuck with is personalities and egotism and infighting and group debating and undermining and superiority and blocking. A few people over there in those communities on socials have shut other accounts down, ruining their life. It's not that serious. All right. So Paranormal Witchcraft pretty much had to walk off social media. Okay. Because that is not okay. Right? Nobody on planet Earth gets to tell anybody out there how to hunt. Right? We really do wish they'd stop that. But, all right? Again, the world's on fire. Some people don't give a flying F. All right? Leave them where they stand. As a business owner, here's my advice. Boycott. And if you're really mad and you must, don't curse. What you can do instead of curse is make a public post so people stop going to those entities, stop going to their business. You stop their livelihoods, it'll stop their mouth. That's the only thing that people respond to right now is a hammer. It's unfortunate we have to do that, but we don't really like to see people curse, hacks. And I understand the frustration. I was hacked and I found my own hacker. Okay, guys, we have to understand reacting with violence to violence, especially a severely private thing like that, still does not make it okay. You call karma. All right. That person isn't worth my fucking spit. And they know it. That's why they do that. All right. So you wish them everything they deserve. All right. They know what they're doing wrong. All right. Slapping them across the face like everyone else is isn't working anymore. Okay. You have to cut off people's livelihoods before their ego is in check, before they'll listen to people, before they'll compromise. All right. Because they think they have to. Blah, 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 blah. They have PTSD. Everybody in the world has it. Everybody. And this is why I'm writing a book about it. Okay. People are hiding behind all kinds of things to try to justify their behavior. All right. Now, Chris is different. All right. He's kind of like me. He was underdeveloped. All right. That's a battle. Chris had to know survival before he knew love, too. Right. My daughter knew survival. I mean, I think she was stable enough to know mommy and daddy, so she knew love, but I came out, choked, etc. Right? That's not cool. I'm glad I survived, but there was a lot of days in my life where I was like, why? Why am I here? What? Why? Right? Eventually, as you get older, you start answering questions to your past, right? But you have to be willing to do something about it. You have to be willing to heal. So the love and relationships, the deep emotional connections, the soulmate energy is what everyone's addicted to in the paranormal, and that soulmate type cortisol raising, adrenaline raising energy in becoming a witch, that exciting feeling that you belong, all right, in a community that will accept you, right? It's just the problem is people are bringing their behaviors and their egos to witchcraft, and that's what we're trying to uneducate, and it's really hard to do. Let's move into the moon. Now, buckle up. This might be another hour long. If you guys are okay with that, I'm okay with that. It's up to you guys. Thank you for the thumbs up. Now, Chris, she's got you beat there in the thumbs up. You know that, right? Help your boy out. Well, we are talking about the witch's ruins, right? And I have no doubt that you are looking at yours right now, aren't you, Chris? Are you looking at your witch's ruins, my friend? I have a feeling you are, in my mind's eye, for some reason. So let's see what's going on. Now, ironically enough, I happen to look down in this unscripted read because I'm not really following the altar cloth, tarot cloth, but I am using it kind of as a guide or a structure for these experimental reads with the witch's ruins versus the tarot. See, people seem to like these comparison videos, these demonstrations, and then as I have this weird energy that some people are attracted to that either want to start fights with me or they want to become followers. I haven't decided what it is about my personality that makes them do one or the other. So I just continue to sit back and wait for people to be transparent with me like I am with them. I promise you, it will not kill you. And it will not make me mad, right? If you're going to tell me you hate me or you don't like me, right? I'll just say thank you for finally being honest with me. Was that so hard? All right. I don't care if people hate my guts. It's none of my business. Let them. All right. Why are they worrying about that? Why are they worrying about our business? Why are they worried about the brotherhood? Why? Ask yourselves that. Right? I look at that as free advertisement. They're talking about me or paranormal witchcraft or the brotherhood. So the fact that they're not sharing the groups with their friends out of pettiness, all right, or whatever it is, doesn't bother me. All right. Shouldn't bother you guys. Right? But we got to get to that place. And in the subconscious, as we talk about getting to that place for some of us. All right. And I see a lot of my friends working on that. All right. I get it. It's hard, isn't it, Chris? Trying to change yourself versus the world right now is extremely, extremely tough to do because people are trying to like poke each other like on some form of a containment planet right now, right? It's a fight for survival and everything you can grab and take from another person, right? Okay. All right. But here's the truth of the matter. Where we need to get, what are we hiding from people? All right. What are we hiding from everybody around us? Just talk about it, y'all. All right, that moral psychology is what will set you free. Every time we make spiritual posts, all right, that's what the universe is saying. That's what it means when it says it will set you free. Those positive intentions that everyone's posting all over the social. That's what they mean. The stuff I'm talking about all the time. And people are just, they're just like, oh, I like the meme. I don't want to spend any time to understand or absorb it emotionally so I can use it myself. They just, gotta go. All right. You know what I do when I'm drinking coffee? I go to the bathroom, I have a cigarette, I talk to the cats. I'm not just doing one thing. All right. So you can't give me the excuse I don't have time. You just can't. Can't do it. You'll never, uh, you'll never convince me you can't do it. Right? Oh, I don't like sounding like that guy. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to get some hate comments for that. All right, so we're talking about what's in our subconscious tonight. Oh, and give my other new friend, I want to get her right. Give me a second. So let me be a dick and interrupt my own podcast for a second. Oh, I dropped that a while ago. So I want you all to give my new other friend from the Wizard Radio crew a welcome. All right. And that is, I just remembered it after I ran and grabbed my phone. So I do apologize again for, you can see that it's been a rough couple weeks. So I'll survive. And it's not me burning the candles at both ends. All right. This is more emotional, personal stuff, etc. I'll be all right. So, what's on our subconscious, my friends? Well, there's a lot. Oh, Dead Speak Tarot. Before I forget her one more time, damn it. So her name is Beth. All right, she is the owner here on YouTube, the Dead Speak Tarot. All right, go check her out. Check out our teammate Holly Staples Foss. She has Dead Time Tales. All right, go check Ash Davis's little venture. All right, the Witchy Hour podcast. I believe she will be doing another one of those. But also consider dropping by and supporting her other buddy in collaboration, Nightmare Roadshow podcast. I also stand behind as collaborators with Blue Mountain Paranormal. All the posts in their group on Facebook. Go give those teams, those individuals, support as well. The more we support each other, the more we build the community, while the rest of the world seems to be walking around with flamethrowers and machine guns with their words and actions. We will eventually help keep ourselves safe. That's the plan, anyways. That's what I'm trying to do. So now the future is about lifting the veil, and that makes perfect sense right now because Disclosure Day, soft release. That sounds so weird. All right, if you're following that type of stuff, was yesterday. I didn't bother sharing or cross posting, but as you see, I've tagged them in the podcast who I follow. All right, also go check out UAP Gerb. All right, I think he's half my age, but very knowledgeable fella. All right, and those are the type of people, if you're going to be into the disclosure subject, please start following guys like Ross, Jeremy, George. All right, vetted. All right, Stephen Greer. Doesn't matter to me what you think of him. Richard Dolan, he's a great guy. All right, there's so many. It's hard to list them all. Right, but go do the open research for yourself. Right? I'm very interested in what it is, but I've never had to be convinced. All right. Maybe I'm just some insane person from the Midwest, and that's what people will call me all over the internet and whatever. But what if I'm right? Right? That I've never had to doubt ever. I've never even asked the question, you know, for years and years and years. I can't say I haven't ever. Right? Kind of like those other guys that are very famous podcasters or personality of influences, like those journalists I just mentioned, where they have more power of their words, right? I look up to people like that in any industry, right? Because those are the people you really want to familiarize yourself with, because right now, those are the people who really do know what's going on, right? The rest of it is, you know, it sounds bad using this phrase, but I call it the TikTok culture. Right? That's a lot of what's being thrown around all the social platforms around me. I hate to say that, but it is. It's all those podcasters in their pajamas, and they're on the UAP UFO thing because it gets ratings, and it's probably because we can't legally sit here in our birthday suits as podcasters. Because I guarantee you, we would if we could. Right? That is where the world's at. We're just so desensitized. All we care about is getting rich, and that's it, right? Doesn't matter what kind of harm it does to somebody's livelihood in Hollywood or a rock star. F it. It was a great band. Didn't matter that guy died of overdose. We just talk about it. It's so sad. Well, they'd still be here if somebody cared around them, right? But instead, we put money and greed over life now. It's sickening to people like me. It really is. Can't take it with you. Like all the billionaires in the Arab deserts that don't care about humanity, they just want to make sure their planet survives. Survives what? For how long? Right? And then what? Right? It just makes me wonder where that mentality goes once you get that much fortune. Right? It goes right out the fucking window. Right? It's a sad, sad day right now, looking around on this planet. Right? So let's lift the veil. It's fucking weird how my reads turn out like this sometimes. So I guarantee you guys this is, blah, blah, blah. Behind me. Probably have a couple of spiritual influences around me today. Thank you for talking through me. I appreciate that. This catches me off guard. I haven't had time to develop my psychism more. We're lifting the veil right now everywhere you look, right? As I was saying, Disclosure Day was yesterday for those people who are fanatical about it. And Mr. Spielberg, thank you. Thank you so much for the movie, right? And that's all I'm going to say about it. Seeing the truth, focusing on something around us very intently, right? Seeing people, yes, we are. All right, we know that. Look at the facing ruins for clues. At the bottom of the screen, holder of this card has psychic abilities and you are witnessing. No, I'm kidding. Bottom of the card does say psychic abilities and witnessing, but I'm I am educated guessing that this is for somebody in the crowd. Maybe you guys are watching somebody with psychic abilities around us today, right? Looking for answers like the rest of the world. I like how Ronnie Radke says it best, right? Looking for the truth in the lost and found in one of his songs. And one of his lines is, where the F is your G-O, you know what now? Right, referring to the entire world. Everybody they can't live without a phone. Violence happens if you take a phone away from some of them, right? That's what he's looking at, right? That is people like me and him and others, and he has an influence. So awesome that Ronnie can do that. But that's me and guys like me and him and many others across the planet, bunch of nobodies like myself. That's why we love seeing him do stuff like that, because we're all rolling our eyes like, what are we doing? This is ridiculous, right? And I love the honesty, right? You don't have to like people, right, to understand that their message is meant to be more uplifting. Hence their band name, right? Falling in Reverse, pick yourself up, right? Whether he's, what people have told me about him or not, that's not for me to judge Mr. Radke, right? I've never met Mr. Radke. I've heard all the disinformation. I've heard stories, and I'm the type of man that if I ever bump into Radke, I'll make my own opinion. Right? I love his band. It is what it is. So he has a skill that he's very authentic and he knows it, right? And that's Mr. Radke there. You got respect, bro. Got respect. So let's lift this veil together, my friends here at Paranormal Witchcraft LLC, my brothers, my friends, very close friends, some of them at the Brotherhood of Male Witches, seeing the truth finally. Yes. Focusing on something intently. I get it, man. I'm here if you need me. Always of service. Because we do it together, regardless of our personal differences on this planet. All right. Even for people who would mock me, call me just some nut on YouTube, right? Doesn't matter to me. It's the message. If it helps somebody out there, That's what it's about. Look at the runes facing. Let's do that. Ooh. Ooh. Let's go deeper. Let's go deeper. Ooh. I like it. I like it. All right. This is what popped into my head. This is what they need to see. But focus on these two for a second. Crossroads and flight. I'll be right with you. I want you guys to focus on that energy. You tell me in the comments what you're thinking. Yeah. All right, I got it. I am tired. I'm going to go to bed early tonight. Or I'll probably sit outside and have a bonfire. It's a great night to have that. So we just came out of the crossroads talking about that. And I could just feel people in the audience going, yeah, I'm dealing with some of that shit. Yeah, so you understand. I get it. I'm right there with you. The future's unknown. And then we were talking about how things are going to eventually start moving. They might get a little worse before they get better, but they will get better. All right. Humans are so predictable. All right. We're almost pattern like. For all the history buffs, they understand that, right? They've studied civilizations, right? And where are those civilizations now? Mic drop. They did exactly what we're doing right now on this planet. That's why they're not here anymore. And yet, we're better than all the generations before us, but we're doing the exact same thing every single time, like we are a stuck record. Again, 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 again. Repeat the same lessons again, again. Violence and conflict and greed and sin and power and poof. And we can't figure out. And from what I see in my open source knowledges, this is our 7th time. If you follow some of that stuff and buy into it, resetting ourselves as a species. Right? And yet we're so above. No. Right? So I'm very happy to see that people are finally accepting the fact that we're not alone. Because they're pretty freaking concerned, I think, some of them. Others, maybe they are bad intelligences. Right? Stop living in fear. You're being a human. All right? And that kind of sounds slightly derogatory, but I promise YouTube it's not. It's in love. All right? Stop with the fear. Right? That's caveman. That's caveman behavior. We don't do that. We thrived and we evolved through the survival instincts in us. And right now, we're not using them very well. We're really not. All right. So I'm not surprised that this is where we're at on this planet, man. I'm really not. I just shake my. You can't make the rest of the world understand. They just don't care. Right? Let's hope. Let's pray if you're out there. Let's chant. Let's ritual. Let's talk about it. Let's use some action, though, without violence. That would be promising, right? But I don't think that'll happen, right? I'm highly skeptical of how many good people there are right now on the planet, right? And that probably sounds very familiar to a lot of people out there, all over the world, right? I'm with you, man. Why? Why are we enemies? What are we enemies for? Right? We all have the right to know right now. Okay. Is it because of the world or is it because of something else? Let's talk about it. But let's do something different. Right? That flight, that crossroads choice, sharpening our spears and our tongues, our verbal knives. For what? Right? Now look what you've done. we'll make a really bad UFO joke. Now look what you've done. I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it. I had to go for it. Sorry, ufologist. I am a serious researcher on that. And, again, I've always believed, but I just look at all the hype and disinformation. And that's what that joke was for. Uh, some of it's just so ridiculous. I don't know why they try passing it off is real. And I'm talking to all the TikTokers. It's just weird. All right. Just please go back to McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks because I miss getting orders right. I haven't had orders right for several years now. I've had people drive off at Dunkin' Donuts, no shit, and to gods, goddesses, and God and Jesus above, if you're religious. Me and Fonda traveling have been driven off on twice. One at a Burger King and one at a Starbucks. No shit. Okay. And that's how I knew the world was in trouble. And this is a few years back. Like, what is going on? We made the order. They said sure, even though they closed in 5 minutes. And we were like, okay, I get it. They're in a hurry. Awesome. Perfect. We pull around. They're pulling away and the lights are off. What? What? And that is why the economy is the way it is. Right? Where's the responsibility? Where? Right? That's what we say on social media. Immaturity. Right? And they call themselves adults. Right? Let them do it, man. Leave them where they stand. Sudden changes, sudden endings. Right? And we're all pointing the fingers. We're all pointing, those flaming arrow posts. It's not me, it's them. And it's that and it's this. And I can't because. And it's never going to be a good time. And people don't understand. And it's hard. And I just want to give up. And right. And I'm repeating all this right now for a reason. Right. To again reaffirm what I'm trying to get people to understand around me on social platforms. I'm doing a lot of service work. That is verbatim what I'm hearing. Right. And so I know if I'm facing it, many people are. And now is a great time to talk the dark away before we do something stupid on this planet. Right. Because humanity is getting pretty sketchy, man. Right. And that's concerning for some people who are just trying to find peace and be happy. Right? Do a little side hustle with a business, right? That's it. This is our happily ever after for me and Fonda, right? And so that's why I'm so harsh on social media, because that's the thing that is my pet peeve the most, right? And I'm most passionate about is respect is law. And if it's not, bye. Okay? And that's the way it should be for everybody. And don't feel bad about it. Need a mental break? Take a mental break. 100%. It's okay. So the world's been making a lot of sudden changes. A lot of things have ended, all right, especially in the last 7 years. It's a completely different planet. Think about it. Let's look back. Let's look back in time to 1819 when things were a lot more positive, a lot more different. We still had a lot of problems then, still had a lot of same conflicts we're dealing with now, right? But look at the shift in humanity is what we're pointing at, right? Walking away from people left and right, walking out of jobs, refusing to get jobs, right? Doing drugs and playing video games all day is more fun than doing something you're going to be proud of, all right? And going out there and purchasing your dream life, right? Instead, just take it from everybody else around you because it's socially acceptable and nobody's caught onto it yet. I don't buy that crap. That's an excuse. That's victim mentality, all right? And you should be better than that as a human being. And if you're not, right, I don't want to be your friend, right? And I want nothing to do with you. That's a toxic person. I will treat that like a fire. And most of the world should too. It doesn't matter if they're a popular paranormal investigator. It doesn't matter if they've been on TV. It doesn't matter if they have an R or a D over their name. It doesn't matter. We're allowing things to happen in broad daylight across the planet that we've let get out of control. Point blank. That's it. Okay. People have long been passive aggressive. And we're looking for the people not to rise up in violence and make change that way, but to quietly change the tide spiritually through education and encouragement, through fellowship, through moral psychology, as we hunt, right? And as we do practicing, etc. A lot of you out there are viewing the planet as dangerous. I get it. I'm there with you too. Last year, for my daughter's 15th birthday, we went thrift store shopping. Right, that's one of the things we do with the girls. We were coming out, and some whacked out kid on drugs tried to point a gun at me. All right, and I had to sit him down, and uh, I could have been hurt or worse. All right, but that's when I really started to get really concerned. All right, and so now I kind of hover over my kids because I'm 2.5 hours away, and I guarantee you I could get there in an hour. All right, and that's what I like, is that we have a relationship right now, and I tell them that this stuff point blank in text and stuff in between visits to reaffirm that I want my girls to make sure that they're safe, right? And they're watching their boundaries all the time, right? Because there's a lot of people and places on the planet that are just kind of trying to go around stuff. So the sun is in the room today, highlighting something, exposing something. Are we talking about Litha? Yes, we are. Litha is coming up on the 21st of next month. Now, my sister will never watch this, but happy birthday, sis, into the universe. And I'll text you because I forgot yesterday and I'm a bad brother. I apologize. The beginning of something new, making good choices, good health, good vitality, healing, good news, karmic justice. It's ironic because what was the card of last week, guys? The card of the week is justice in whatever form, all right, that people choose to resonate it with, right? I just switched out the deck because we're going to use it tonight, but our card of the week is justice, because I see a lot of karmic justice going on the socials and in the networks, etc., and in the business collaborations. So, and that's a good thing. That's positive. It's encouraging. I see people leaning. I see positive messages. I see uplifting. I see people starting to grab other people around us. Grow this seed through this Beltane energy into the Letha. Okay. Remember, it's going to expose the chaotic ones. They're everywhere. There's energy vampires walking everywhere around you, my friends. We can do a podcast tomorrow night on energy vampires. Why not? Everybody for that in the podcast, please say yes or no. It's going to expose something, and it'll be the beginning of something new for some. Yes? How many people are in the room, Chris? I can't tell. I just see you. There's good health and good vitality choices being made around us. All right. I'm working on some things. All right. My dental stuff, whether I like it or not. Okay. And my other body stuff. All right. My 30 years of stocking have caught up with me. My weightlifting, the wear and tear on my body. All right. All that stuff is starting to wear and tear on me. So I am in warrior mode, but not like the rest of the world, right? I'm not like jabbing people and creating debates and infighting. If anything, you'll see me in chats just, I just don't have time if people are in foul moods and they want to be petty or there's something wrong with our relationship. Just spit it out, man. That's where I'm at, right? Time is precious to a guy like me right now, right? Because I want to focus on the business, but I want to focus on the teammates there if I can, right? And the brotherhood. That's it. So if I'm doing service work in other groups and stuff, all right, I'm going to ask that people stop expecting so much of me, because now momentum is growing. Things are starting to happen. My attention is being needed in the responsibilities and gaining the collaborations and getting the income flowing into paranormal witchcraft. And I'm sorry if there's people around me who can't handle that right now. All right. I got to be a little selfish. Okay. I'm doing the best I can, like you all are. Okay. I'm asking for all the other warrior witches, teammates, and friends on social media. All right. To be understanding. Okay. Slow down just a little bit. All right. Give us give us, what am I trying to say here? Give us some consideration is the best way to put it. So we have Litha coming. It's going to highlight everything all over the world. Remember that. I believe when Disclosure Day, the movie, comes out, all right, that is going to be a really good day to pay attention to. All right, and the next coming weeks, guys, I think it's going to be a very interesting change we're going to see in the very public majority of the sector that hasn't been paying attention to that. It'll be very interesting to see what comes out of that. All right, for a guy like me, I know. I don't need to be convinced. You know, it would be really cool to see the physical evidence. I'll agree with Jeremy Corbell and George and everybody else in the military that's really pushing for it. All right, we want to see. Right, we do. We're tired of the We're tired of the I don't know what you're talking about. Really? There's proof. We know. Everybody in the world knows. Everybody. Every countryman is looking at their government going, well, come on, what is it? Right? If it's really holy crap, come on. All right. We're ready now. Right. And I think there's a reason and a rhyme to all this energy across the globe. Now, I don't ever pretend to understand what that is. Right. So I am excitedly anxious. All right. When it comes to that realm of the world to see what happens there. We'll see, man. We'll see. But I'm excited. I'm excited for that. There's justice happening, karmic justice, right? There's positive vibes out there, right? And that's combating all the garbage that people are swimming through or absorbing like a sponge. What do we got going on here, guys? We got the rings towards the end here. Now, do you guys want me to keep going or not? After this read, I mean. So circumstances that are connecting people from all over the globe. Well, heck, y'all, I resonate with that. Go check out our friends, right? The Dead Speak Tarot, right? Tell Ms. Beth Paranormal Witchcraft and Tobias and Lady Fonda say hi and blessings. And I say blessings to everybody. I love that is a new face to us, like in the cauldron, you know, starting to highlight our collaborating friends at Witchfinder Dating Social Coven. Okay. And I'm behind on Sir Phil's podcast. I am sorry, my friend. I am sorry. Okay. I do mean to catch up to you. Right. Go check out Dogman TP Hunting. Phenomenal take lately, guys. Phenomenal take. I'm loving it. I'm loving it, Phil and Natalie. I'm loving it. Blessings. Circumstances that connect different people. All right. Combining different elements to create something new. We're all doing that right now. And I think some of us are doing that to keep our asses sane. Makes sense, right? Whatever it is. So it's just me and you right now, isn't it, Chris? Most people on the planet are probably partying or going out and doing stuff. That's all right. So go after what you want in your life's purpose. At least that's what I see on my screen. I see one thumbs up and I see one person in the audience. But again, I'm one of those rare podcasters, or I don't know, sometimes people call me some kind of personality. I really don't care what people call me, right? I try to treat everybody with love and light and respect until they start stepping on toes or, you know, doing morally stupid shit. All right. And then I will show them that boundaries are in need. And if they don't accept the healthy boundaries, well, I just walk away. Okay. Leave them where they stand. You're going to hear that a lot for the rest of the year. So containment protocols do refer to the type of discipline and dedication to practice as well. All right. Go after what you want, your life's purpose. Look to the ruins closest to the star for clues. This is something that could serve as an inspiration for others. Being yourself. Now, this could be referring to me, as in the example of somebody out there is eventually going to watch this podcast and go, what the fuck is paranormal witchcraft? And they might make it this far in the show, right? And they might actually hear these words and go, you know, I understand. I resonate with his message. All right. But for those of you looking for answers, in mainstream media, news outlets right now, you're not going to find it. Okay. There are, however, a few mainstream news anchors that are very curious. Right? I'm curious to see what they're going to do with their influence. Right? Are they going to blow it with the egos that got them there? Or are they actually going to float down a little bit with us regular people? Right? And not be so arrogant about it, right? It's very interesting to see some of them start leaning in, some of these news anchors and very popular podcasters, right? And that's a good sign when it comes to those people following the story. Because as soon as you take a stigma away from something, right, it is no longer, right, what? A threat, right? And the UFO alien story has been spun in such a way that there's too many people that fear this or that about it. Right now, what I can tell you is what you're hearing in those hearings is real. That stuff is not disinformation. Look at some of the most popular things going around right now about disclosure, right? And it concerns a lot of scientists, right? I'll leave it there. It's a good Easter egg for those people curious in ufology. So whatever it is we're doing in the paranormal witchcraft, right? Or in the brotherhood, whoever's in here tonight, go after what you want. Right? I know where I'm going. We know where we're going. All right, as a team, we have a game plan, etc. So let's end this badass read like I promised. We are ending on the star, which is a positive note. Right? If you remember the tarot, the star is the naked man and the naked woman. All right, allowing themselves to be shown upon, all right, by the universe, which means you're finally ready to reveal something to the world. Thank you. All right, a lot of us have been sitting back just waiting patiently, much like spiders waiting for the good people to come along, all right, and realize that what they were walking through around us was just noise and disinformation, etc., etc. So it will get better, guys. Right? Now think about this. Everything comes out of situations like this, even for little no-name businesses in the middle of the Midwest, USA, right? Who may never ever see the real limelight of a real stage anywhere, but it doesn't matter because it's the journey. It's sharing the knowledge of the survival skills I have learned with others and how I use them, and sharing that visceral part of my story and what it felt like, because I truly believe and sense there's millions hiding in the collective telling people I'm good and they're not. I'm good as an investigator. You're not. You're falling apart behind the scenes. It's all right. All right. Pagans out there, I'm good. No, you're not. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. It's not going to kill you. All right. You're crying yourself to sleep. I get it. Let's talk about it. All right. That is the spark that makes humans so geared for survival, is we refuse. We refuse to stay down. Right. Unfortunately, we light a fuse on our species and we keep blowing ourselves up and resetting ourselves. All right. We just haven't figured it out yet. It's us. Can't blame it on the aliens. Can't. Right. And the people hiding the real alien bodies, and if they are really here, right, I tend to believe that they are. Yeah, that's my true belief on camera tonight, and they have been. Makes perfect sense, right? But that tends to really heat the podcast up when I say things like that, because they look at me and go, a witch that also investigates UFOs and aliens. Well, yeah, because that's tied to the cryptology. Right? I, as a practicer, believe they're all kind of intertwined. Right? I just have a weird, insane theory like that. Right? That all of them, right, have been around for a while. Right? And the fact that we've segregated them into, different religions and lores, etc., that's kind of irrelevant in my brain. I'm just looking for the knowledge. Right? And I put things together in my head on how I think we came to be, etc. So I'm a little eccentric that way, but to me, it's not surprising that possibly we were seeded, right? It's not. It's not surprising to me that we possibly could be a prison planet, and I'll tell you why. Because if you look at other planets, if we're looking at science fiction, okay, you'll notice those planets have all one species. And if they did have other species, what were those species? They were prisoners. Interesting, isn't it? There's also weird theories out there that, God, Jesus, and the likes were blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's so many different variations to stuff out there right now, right? I just say people are free to choose what they believe. I don't judge people that way, right? Why would I want to? Sometimes it's interesting conversation, and other times it's a debate. It all depends on who you're talking to. So let's see what we got going on with the tarot today. And I have the High Priestess. All right, I have the Empress. Now, I'm not going to tell you guys where intuition or spirit is guiding me to put them. We're just going to go with it. All right. The Star. We were just talking about that because we just ended the runic read. And in comparison, okay, we're doing this as a comparison. Okay. You can call it a metaphysical experiment if you want. We're trying to see if there's a change in the message. When we ask the spirits, the universe, our guides, our past loved ones, whatever brings you guys here tonight, right, to the channel of Paranormal Witchcraft LLC. Yes, I am a paranormal investigator. Yes, I'm a solitary, eclectic chaos witch, and I can be a sorcerer if needed. Right? Hence why I'm an investigator. Exorcism knowledge. To people like me, it made sense to approach paranormal investigating, and I fell in love with it because obviously they've already explained in previous podcasts many times how we ended up here, so I'm not going to go back on a tangent. Right? It's everyone's responsibility if they are interested, all right, and we respect that. Awesome, and we're grateful to get to know us. We ask that you do, and we encourage it. Ask us anything. All right, that's what we say all the time. We don't ever pretend to be something we're not here at Paranormal Witchcraft. That's apparently everyone else's job out there. Right? Why? I'm not sure sometimes. Leave them where they stand. Use the energetic boycott method. All right? Just stop tuning in. Stop dropping by. Stop supporting. Stop buying there. Stop going there. Stop talking to. All right? Focus within. That's where you're supposed to be anyways. All right, focus within. That's where you're supposed to be anyways. I'm going to say it twice for the people in the back of the room. Like Ronnie Radke says in one of his videos, looking towards the sky for salvation. And I love the computer drop on Sebastian. That was great. That was great. So, we have the Fool. Uh-oh. I really wish I could do a Cinderella impression. I'm not your fool. We have the Ten of Wands showing up somewhere. The Hermit. Ooh, I'm not surprised, especially where it's going. Aha! Things are starting to make sense now. The universe is coalescing, like when you ask ChatGPT something. So where did Miss Truth Tarot readings go? Did she have to run today? Video games is the problem. Video games very well could be the first form of presence besides the internet for good old devil there. Right? A lot of people on the religious side who do believe that. And I'll tell you why, as a witch, I agree. Right? Because if you look at it, look what it's doing to our youth. Look what it's done to their focus. Look what it's doing to the current workforce. All right. There is no workforce. Right. So for those people who say, well, it's not, it's a responsibility. Yes, it's a responsibility. Right. And that's what the devil preys on the most. Right. Do these immature pricks have the responsibility to refrain from being sucked into video game land? They don't. Right. Because that's the whole appeal of it. Right. And most of that generation is completely jaded by that influence, and they haven't even realized that the subliminality of their video games and the thousands or millions of hours they spent there have completely retrained them, right? And they're blissfully ignorant and unaware and probably don't care. It's sad. It's a shame. I see it in my kids. I'm trying to reverse it quickly, right? And she's coming out of it, right? But it does go back to responsibility as a parent, right? And I had to take fault, right? Because I was going through stuff in life and it took my attention away from my daughters. And I do blame myself, right? But sometimes, right? I also turn around and go, I'm grateful that I am where I am right now, where I can help them through this world without doing them more harm, okay? It's a dad thing. So let's see what we got going on next. We have a comment. Knight of Pentacles energy. Talking about those financial gains in the Knight of Pentacles energy. Somebody who's had some practice at it, no longer an apprentice, no longer entry position. Somebody gaining knowledge, somebody gaining more skill, either technical or other, obviously for financial gain, which is always backed by survival instinct. All right. Let us see what the outcome will be. Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles. Where'd it go? Beautiful. So we end with the outcome, Queen of Pentacles. So it's a similar storyline, similar outcome. Interesting. But I believe it's because we're all resonating with the same individuals about the same things all over the world, depending on who you are. So we have an energy of the read with the tarot deck. I decided 5 of Wands, right? And this is exactly one of those synchronicities, right? That show us we're right where we need to be in this message. We're on the vein of what the world is paying attention to or focused on or dealing with. Beautiful. So what the hell was that, babe? Give me a second. You didn't hear me. Somebody just drove here, dropped something in our mailbox and left, or walked over, put something in our mailbox and left. I'm not sure which. So I'm in my office around the corner, but I'm only 5 feet away from my front door, really, just separated by a wall. This was one. What was that, baby? What was in the mail? I swear somebody just put something in the mailbox. I swear I just heard it. Okay, then I'm nuts. So let's see what we're going for here, guys. Oh, I'm talking, my love. Thank you. I love you. All right. Let's get her started. So we're all in the 10 of Wands. We're all looking at the 10 of Wands. We're all dealing with the 5 of Wands. All right. Let's pull up the first two cards of our tarot read, which is a Celtic cross. The present, all right? Or if you want to look at it as you, the querent, you're the one who's looking for answers right now. So welcome. And the one underneath it, I'm going to show you, is the problem. Aha, makes sense to me. Should make sense to most people on the planet. We're all in the Ten of Wands energy and the Hermit energy at the same time. I suspected that. You suspected that. I feel it. I'm pretty sure Chris feels it. Right? The whole planet's feeling something like that right now. That's no surprise. Let's see if we can peel back another layer of this onion and see what is wrong with the social culture around the world right now. See if we can figure out what the vein is. Huh. So, do we want to go to the conscious or do we want to go to the subconscious? Which one do you want to do today, my friend? Conscious or subconscious first? As investigators, we talk about containment over chaos a lot at Paranormal Witchcraft, and that is, control yourself. Right? You can't be a good investigator, all right, if you can't control yourself. If you can control yourself, though, you can control the investigation. You can remain calm. Right? You can keep everybody around you who's investigating, if they're paying, especially, safe. And that's why we're trying to promote containment so much, because if you fly off the handle with the wrong entity in the wrong situation and things go bad, all right, and then you'll have to call Paranormal Witchcraft LLC and we'll have to come out and see what the hell happened, see what followed, see what fucked with y'all. All right, threw a rock back at you for doing what you did. All right, I'm surprised literally that our phone doesn't blow up every day, and I can tell you why. Because a lot of people are trying to avoid the problems they've caused. Right? And perhaps they think it's like Hollywood. You have to call people like the Warrens and it'll be thousands of dollars and it'll be all over the news. No, well, here at Paranormal Witchcraft LLC, we have NDAs for those people who don't want to be known. All right. That being said, let's move on. All right. So you said subconscious. It's ironic how it keeps coming up, doesn't it, Chris? The star showed up 2 times in a row. Not on purpose. The universe, spirits, the guides, whoever are around us, all right, have a lot to say, don't they? Maybe who we're talking to is some of the entities up above. How do we know? How do we know as tarot readers, as intuitives? All right. I just wanted to throw that out there for people. Ha ha! That usually makes people uneasy when you make them look at it that way. To me, I'm open-minded. It would make sense and it wouldn't surprise me. All right. The CE5 movement is huge right now. All right. Maybe I'm lucky enough to attend one as a guest for Paranormal Witchcraft LLC. I think it would be pretty cool. Show support. So we're going to end with a star. Right. That's what's on our mind again. Right. That was our outcome. Perfect. Is it on our mind because we're still talking about it? Who knows? Let's find out. I'm pretty sure that's not the reason, but stick around. Let's see what happens, right? Answer, by the way, in the comments, are you in reaction mode right now out there on planet Earth? If you are, that's okay, right? I still get pulled in from time to time. It's about a little time. But what I do is, like you've seen in this podcast, I'll make amends. I'm not going to use the guide today. I'm going to use intuition, right? So let's get into the conscious side of our brains, which this is where most of the planet is stuck, right? And that's why they're not using very much empathy towards each other. They're all in the high priestess mentality. I got time, right? Everyone's just too busy trying to get rich, too busy trying to grow into 200 million following large groups on social media platforms and be the it and the only. And that ego is going to cause problems. The Brotherhood has seen it. The Brotherhood dealt with it. Right? There was a time we were approached in Brotherhood of Male Witches where people wanted to let us view, let us give them our content, our original content in the Brotherhood, like spells, rituals, how to make stings, how to make ruins, and they would decide if the content was good or not as part of a collaboration. And we were like, no, not going to happen, right? Right. And that was a real thing, and it was a huge disagreement online. All right, and that's another reason why I'm so quiet when I see drama flare up in our communities, because I don't need any more of that crap. I've had enough experience with the Brotherhood. Okay, I'm trying to advise people around me to slow down enough to relax. Right, try not to react. Try not to let your ego push you to a point where you're going to grow to a size you can't handle. Right, because I may not be around to be of service and help you out of it. Trying to help people stop wasting their energy in time, and it doesn't always work because they're too focused. Right? We're trying really hard at Paranormal and the Brotherhood to get people to shh, shh. Remember the prophecy? He would just walk in and shh. Right? I'm really trying with my message to get people to really just shh, calm down for a minute, do the breath work. All right. Push the anger out, push the rage out, but stop forcing it upon the world. There's no need for it. It's silly. A lot of people are in that arrogant mode, the high priestess, who can be arrogant when she needs to be. Because there is a place for ego in the world, right? When it's usually it's used in a fair setting, right? So keep that in mind. I agree with that. Our past, which this made sense, the magician, right? As somebody who had to look at the picture, right? See that? Now, as a witch, right, and as a learning new hat there, right, you understand that. Eight of Pentacles energy, working on the craft, reading those books, gaining that knowledge, not just making the meanies, right? You actually understand what those meanies mean, right? Great. Good job. Lesson B. Let's keep doing it, right? But in the past, maybe the ego got the better of us. Yeah, had that happen a lot in my life, right? Check yourself before you wreck yourself up right now as a spiritual omen to people, right? You don't correct your behavior, you're going to lose that job bid. You don't correct your behavior, no one's going to paranormal investigate with you anymore. And you won't make any money for sure, right? And then you'll be really mad at the world, right? And so people should be paying attention, but they're not. They're just mad, right? They're trying to mean mug people, right? Whatever, right? And the whole planet's doing that, okay? Have at it, man. That's what makes you feel tough. Go for it. The future. What does the future hold, my friends? Empress energy. That is a different type of energy altogether. So in a world that's on fire and they're throwing spears at each other from afar and calling it diplomacy, right? We're seeing a lot of people approach situations in a high priestess mode, but with the ego accentuated. That's called narcissism. That's called gaslighting. Right? That's not fair. Right? So we need a more mature way to approach things around us, or otherwise we're using the definition of insanity, saying and doing the same things and expecting the same result. Being hateful, talking crap, telling people to stop following each other. All right? And most of those people that are paranormal investigators that do that talk about how they're Christians, and hilarious, right? I know. We need to be more of the Empress in the future. Right? More mature, and perhaps that's why they're here. If you're following into that, right? Perhaps that's why they're here. Some of them see we're struggling. They see some of us out there might be about to hit a red button and cause some damage, etc., and they're concerned. Maybe it's because they see the good in us. Maybe because they've been here and they've witnessed us do this many times. Maybe perhaps it's because this time they're trying to get us to understand they're trying to prevent what we've always done to ourselves. We'll see what happens, guys. Let's move into our influence. Our influence is we're all looking for some form of strength to lean on, all right? So if those people need strength, again, I light candles for a lot of people in my world. It doesn't matter to me if you're a personality on here or if you're one of those popular people that I look up to. Doesn't matter. I know that you're struggling with something out there in your personal life too. Who am I to say you couldn't use a little bit of good energy yourself? Doesn't matter to me if you're a Christian. It's not meant to offend. It's meant to try to bridge and stop the stigmatism between the religious world and the practicing world. All right. Because now there's a stage for it. And now I believe we're ready as a species to talk about it openly. All right. And stop using blasphemy in between. Knight of Pentacles energy is the external influence. See what I'm talking about? The arrogance. It's all about them. Right? They think the world's ending, so they just want to get rich and F the world. Right? They want to be popular. They want to be on TV. They want to take advantage of things and people and places, and they just don't care. Leave them where they stand. Emotional boycotting will stop people faster than anything on the planet. And beyond that, boycotting their business or their entity. Okay? That's karma. That's not being baneful. That's not casting a curse. That's not being hexing. All right. That's putting a healthy boundary out there. There should be no reason for validation after that. Hope and fears. Well, that's apparent to me. Everybody is acting a fool right now. Everybody's acting a fool. All right. Why? Because of that in the news. Because of that guy. Because of the prices. Because everything's forced upon us. That's right, it is. It's always been that way, though. Always. When I was a kid, same way. The only difference is we have a way to publicize it daily, right? But publicizing all of what's going on all over the world isn't helping. Because most of that public live sharing of what's going around the world is very one-sided, opinionated, and meant to create more hate and toxicity. We're the people that are trying to uplift and heal the planet. I don't care what's been done. What's been done has been done. So I look at it as a human being. We can't control the decisions that have already been made around the planet that are affecting all of us. We can do nothing about it. So all that loudness, all that violence, all the conflicts, you have to stop the money. It's the only way it ever stops now. And we as a species have gotten here. And there's not enough responsible people talking about what's going to happen if we don't do anything about it. They just brush it off because their egos tell them they're too important to stop and think about the catastrophic examples of what could actually happen if we don't pull our shit together as a human species. We'll see what they do because their arrogance befalls us every time. How dare a little nothing try to incite some change of the hate machine and the greed machine and the self-pity machine and this new SI fad. I'm not going to say fad, that's a bad choice of words. But this use of SI to escape real life problems that were bad choices. I see it all over the time. I see people stealing vehicles and then they're trying to hide behind that just to get out of jail. Like, why? You made that bad choice. What are you hiding? That's a real serious mental illness, and it offends people like me. That's why I'm talking about it. It's a real serious illness, and to see petty criminal behavior type people try to hide behind it, that's ignorance. All right, you need to grow up and deal with your life. You made that choice. You made your choice to run. Like what? It, I see that, and it's one of those things where you look at those people and go, "Karma, where are you?" Right? Because that's a form of cowardice. Do you understand that? That's a form of cowardice. But yet you're so hard on your social media profiles. Do you see where humanity is? It's ass backwards land right now. And everyone's forgot their logic out of fear or anxiety. Some are really desperately in trouble, right? Because of the economy, right? And so I constantly do what I can to try to help people get through it and send positive vibes out there and do things that are going to help instead of, what the billionaires think they're going to do. I disagree hardly with those people. Those are just people that are treating us like an ant farm. I don't appreciate that. I know a lot of people out there don't either. So we're looking to get to the Queen of Pentacles energy, right? But take the ego away, right? That's what the Queen of Pentacles is trying to say, right? Why are all these human beings walking around trying to be the alphas? And they think every human in their path is just a bumper car game of ego and narcissism and gaslighting, right? And hacking and scamming and trolling and casting and cursing and hexing and fake paranormal investigating and having to sell ourselves as good witches. And what is wrong with our mentality, human beings? That's what I see, right? I don't see paranormal investigators anymore. People who use those behaviors, I see they're kind of like ghost hunters. I don't get it, right? They constantly need validation. That's why they're so self-centered. That's why it's always about them. Always. Okay. They'll begin every post that way. You'll notice that I try to open every post with Paranormal Witchcraft or Brotherhood as we, because we are in a team. I can't do anything without the team of the Brotherhood. I can't do anything without the team members of Paranormal and Witchcraft, even though I'm desperately trying. Right? The truth is, everybody needs more help on the planet. Are we going to give it to each other? Or are we going to keep throwing our egos around as to why we can't? We can't stop and get to know somebody. We can't stop and help anybody. It's too important we save this dollar. It's too important we save this can of green beans. All right? Weird to me. We have Queen of Pentacles leading us out tonight. I want to thank you guys for this very long, very interesting stream tonight for Paranormal Witchcraft LLC, partially, mainly for my friends and brothers at Brotherhood of Male Witches, right? Which aren't finding their way here, and that's okay. So if it doesn't get very much attention here, that's okay, because the only reason it's here is because we're trying to grow the channel, right? And this shows exactly the stigma out there all over the globe. I don't care who you are, right? That there is something creating a problem with our relationships when it comes to the paranormal and who we investigate or hunt with. And it seems to be the case all over the planet that if you're a practicer, you are immediately ostracized by everybody else around you, because a majority of it is, it's a simultaneous unconscious fear reaction because they were raised the way they were raised. Now they've become paranormal investigators. Okay. Now you can see why some of the drama mill happens on socials and the internet. They are afraid to work with people like us. They just don't want to have to come out and say it. Okay. They want to cast those stones in the ways of names, right? Talking behind backs, right? Etc. Having their friends hack, whatever it is they do. That's how you know they're a fake person. That's how you know they're only in it for themselves. You have to cut that off. There's many heads to the dragon of what we're dealing with on the planet. More people need to figure out how to take those out instead of trying to point at the ones we think it is. So with that being said, have yourselves a beautiful evening. I am Tobias Josephson. This is Paranormal Witchcraft LLC. All right. But what I'm mostly known for is the Brotherhood of Male Witches. Once again, I am an openly and publicly spoken said, all right, a solitary, eclectic chaos witch. Right. And people will immediately take that phrase and their brains will go where it has no business going. And it will do that from a place of closed-mindedness. It'll do that from a place of fear. All they have to do is ask us. We will gladly tell them what it's like to live as a practicer. And yet, everybody I meet that can't handle it is so afraid of asking even the most basic questions, except for a brave few. And for those brave few, we're friends with them, right? Because the stigma doesn't rule our religious friends that I love highlighting up here on this channel. And that needs to be talked about more, right? This is their sigil, right? And they're hiding behind it right now because of the fear and the chaos of the world and the conflicts and the hunger and the starvation and the death rate and the murder rate and all that. I understand. But if we talk the dark away together, regardless of our personal or magical differences, I mean that. Like even at governmental levels, doesn't matter who you are on the planet. If we can just come together more and find that common ground, we can stop all this crap. It's silliness. And yet we've done it before. Broken record syndrome. So I hope with every part of my being, as a human being, as a father, as a brother, right, as a business owner, as a practicer, as a paranormal researcher, as a UFO and alien believer, and a husband, right, that the world does get better. But from where I'm standing, everything I do and say seems to become objective to somebody else on the planet. And that's how I know we need more people like myself to stand up publicly and try to help out. And we applaud those other people out there doing good things, like the Dead Speak Tarot, In the Cauldron, Blue Mountain Paranormal, Evidently Paranormal, Jack Chavez, Phil Caldwell, great paranormal people to get to know, all right? They have a taste for being very respectful, right? And more of that responsibility needs to spread in their communities. Gods and goddesses willing, right? And it is out of our control, paranormal witchcraft. That's why we're doing a majority of our education here, all right? Because that place is, it's like that three-letter word, zone, right? There's so much conflict there that people are causing physical problems towards each other, and I want no part of it. As owner of Brotherhood of Male Witches and owner of Paranormal Witchcraft LLC, that's why we're here. Right? Want no part of that gatekeeping, splaining, arrogant, best investigator ever type mentalities. I just don't. No time for it. Right? No love for it either. Right? You want to work with us? Great. Don't want to be of service? Right? And collaborate and get on some working relationships? No problem. Right? There's more where that came from. Paranormal Witchcraft LLC isn't looking to be like the circuit types that go around to all the paranormal events and we're some type of a star in the we want to go all over the world. And we're serious paranormal investigators in life. We do para-exploring when we travel. Any cemetery, any abandoned bridge, anything like that. That's what me and Fonda do at Paranormal Witchcraft. Cemeteries, right? It's not just a fake personality so people pay us money. It's not what it's about for us. It's a real life passion as a couple. We started a business. We asked, 10 friends if they'd like to help. All right? They said they did. All right? Shit happened. Shit hit the fan, etc., etc. And I seem to be the last one standing, all right? So keep yourselves well, my friend, Right? Be the warriors you are. Doesn't matter if you're a practicer to me. I love you either way. We love people either way out there. We're trying to make a positive change. I know the message seems boring to some, all right? But isn't that crap you're watching on TV all the time boring? That's how I look at it. How can you watch that violence, that arrogance, that narcissism, that culture of toxicity day in and day out on your televisions or whatever channel it is you tune to get your news from? How that's my return question to you all. How can you sit there and do that all day long? Right? To me, it's objective. It has no good place in my life. Right? I will stabilize myself. I will keep centering myself as a practicer and an investigator because I know the world's going to change. It's coming quick. Right? I'm bracing. Right? I'm getting knowledge. I'm getting skills. I'm getting prepared because I am awakened. Right? We're looking for more of the awakened out there. If you happen to be a paranormal investigator, awesome. If you're a psychic, even better. We'd love to talk to you too. All right. So either or, if you're a ufologist, let's talk about it. Cryptology, awesome. All right. I don't know why they get so, like, we don't have very many of them in paranormal witchcraft, and I don't know if it's, whatever it is yet, the people dynamic that are cryptologists, especially the Bigfoot ones, I don't know, right? But that being said, that's why we say welcome to the jungle, right? Because we understand it's a cutthroat mentality in the field, all right? It's kind of like a survival of the fittest mentality, and I really thought it'd be a fun mantra. And so when, as a practicer, I decided to start a business, all right, as a paranormal investigator and try to help people with spiritual problems like that in the paranormal field, it made sense as a witch to offer a couple services like that. And so apparently becoming paranormal witchcraft was fighting words for a lot of people, right? And who knew, right? Behind every good intention is what? I think that's where that slogan came from, right? I love each and every one of you. Thank you, Chris, for tuning in. Thank you, Truth Tarot, for tuning in. I look forward to celebrating Letha with you, friends, right? Especially Brotherhood of Male Witches. Fellas, hang in there. Steve's, Mikkel, Brotherhood, admin, all the friends, team, and supporters, partners, etc. of Paranormal Witchcraft LLC. Have yourselves a beautiful Saturday evening, and we will see you right back here Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on this channel, Paranormal Witchcraft LLC. Have yourselves a beautiful evening. Merry meet and blessed be. Happy hunting.